No, dude, turn the hat around. You look hot like that.
Look like a douche. No, it's gonna be facing forward. It's serious business right now.
Oh, very serious. Did you see my big tuna shirt?
I saw it.
Office style, daddy.
No, I don't have any animated.
We could help you out. Okay, welcome back, scallywags. We still have no name for this podcast. All 38 of you who watched the last one, you're useless. Not one of you bastards left a name, so shame on
Or
you.
you know what? I'm gonna call you all 38 out. No comments, really?
You know what? The 38 of y'all can just get fucked. Get out of it.
Right.
Let me dial that back. No,
I
don't
think
get
that's blogging or podcast 101, right? Insult your audience. Start with that, and then
start with
go
that.
from. Okay.
Yeah,
Or that's
lead
chat.
in with that. They like that. They like that a lot. I've heard. Yeah, so we're into week 2. Still a shit show for me with getting the mic and all that stuff sorted out. I have all these fucking microphones. I have all these fucking microphones in this house. Like, I mean, I have mics. There's one. Couldn't figure out how to get that fucker working. Wireless mics. Couldn't figure out how to get that working. It's a real shit show. Like when it comes to like people will watch this and they'll be like, how come you assholes can't? Mostly me, because you got your shit together there.
I told you what to order already. I'm connected to it with it, guys.
Yeah, but I tried to be Billy Big Dick, and I tried to do this tonight with my R6 Mark II, and I had it plugged into here. I couldn't get the shit to work on this damn computer because I plugged into Riverside to try to see if I could. I'm an idiot. I know how to take photos with these cameras, but everything else,
What did we talk about in the last podcast? Is keeping things simple.
yeah. I need to get a
It-
phone tripod.
yeah, order the thing that I sent you over and just call it a day. Just connect that straight to your phone. We're good to go.
All right, I might need to order that mic too because these ones here are on some USB regular shit.
Do you hear these beasts?
I do hear that.
Yeah, guys, we'll actually cut this out. Let me send them upstairs.
No. You know what I thought that was? I thought that was your penis fighting to get out of your pants.
No, that's a different sound. I'll be back. Here, you know what? Introduce the podcast. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Come on.
Okay, this is podcast gold. All right, guys. Yeah, it's your boy. It's your boy Chips Ahoy, Scott Stockton, Charlotte, North Carolina. Scott Stockton Photography, servicing the great folks around the Carolinas and beyond. I got my man Elmer Escobar hopping in right there. He just had to go wrestle his hoggy back into his pants. Shit was getting out of control. Based out of Long Beach, but he services the world as well. And yeah, we back for another week. Last week's episode, we've already slandered the 38. The 38 of you know who you are.
Well, 3 of those is us. One of us watched it twice.
Yeah. So it's really 30, 35, 34 of you, and not even one of you assholes could even hit the thumbs up button. You couldn't even just tickle the algorithm for daddy. Just tickle it.
We didn't even do it.
I did. Yeah, I'm calling myself out. Yeah. Man, what a shit show. And then, yeah, your boy's still struggling, but it's a new week. At least I got lighting and I'm in a better room. So there's that.
One step at a time.
So how are things? What all did you get into today? How are things over on the West Coast?
Today was from a photo standpoint, a fairly boring day. I had a phone call with a client, explained to them, beach, explained to them the tides that we always check that time of day, typical questions. Over the weekend, we had 5 events, though. That was busy. It was the busiest weekend we've had this year. So yeah, that was quite tiring.
Yeah, you were busy as hell. I tried to call you to bullshit around, and you were always out getting bags while I was sitting at the house playing with myself.
But that's on that point, it's never comparing yourself to other photographers. You know what I mean? Because there are days when I'm sitting on my hands and you're shooting one thing and another thing. Comparing yourself is the you're just going to depress yourself. You know what I mean? To kind of throw that out there, like a big thing that I always learn is don't compare yourself when you see somebody shooting all the time. It's like, yeah, they may be shooting like hell this month, and then next month they're sitting around. So not to get too serious, but you know what I mean?
Well, we got ourselves a big week here because in 2 days we'll be broing it up in Vegas, huh?
Oh yes, yeah, dude. I keep forgetting, honestly. Like you 2 weeks ago, in 2 weeks, I'm like, oh shit, and now it's 2 days. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
I know. It's like my flight leaves early as hell. So I leave at 6 a.m., which means I have to get up at like 3, and then it lands in Vegas at 9 a.m. So I'll be in that Hilton at Resort World, just in a lobby reading a magazine for 3 hours until they get my room ready.
Oh, that's right. Well, I mean, you can go and explore and do some street photography. I mean, Vegas is perfect for that.
Yeah, but I'll have that damn. I wonder if I can leave my suitcase at the desk.
They probably will, dude. I mean, most hotels are accommodating. So I would say just be like, hey, I'll be back. Can I just leave it here? I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
We've done
and
that.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, and you know my suitcase looks like a sofa, so they might just roll it out into the lobby and let people sit.
Do we have a photo or a video that we can?
We do. We have a
We need,
video in New York where I'm sitting on a couch, and you asked me if I could skin it and make some luggage. But yeah, I borrowed my mom's suitcase for one of our trips to New York, and it looked like somebody had skinned an old lady's couch and made luggage. It was bad.
hmm
But no, now this time I'm coming with like a really nice, classy leather, a classy leather,
well, I look forward to it.
stepping it up. But that'll be fun. It's just a trip for shenanigans. Angelique's coming and her friends, so they'll be going to see Usher while we do more entertaining things.
hmm With
I'm
Taryn.
gonna vlog it.
Yeah. Um. So I would say, in the last week, one thing that we've been doing, like we discussed before, I'm kind of, guiding the ship back to photography. Um, we were discussing a few topics that we wanted to go over. I'm using my phone, so if you want to pull it up, I'll let you, the way maybe let you start this time because I don't want to be hogging the mic.
No, I like when you hog it. I think we talked about shit. I'm using my phone too. I think I think today's topic though was about getting into off-camera flash and how it changed our work.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll lead out because like we said a little bit last time just how daunting flash can be, like for a newbie.
hmm
But there was too many times I remember early in my wedding career where like natural light is just not getting it done, or like I think the natural light photographer goes to bed before a wedding and says, "Please be overcast tomorrow. I need
hmm
you to be overcast because if it's harsh light, it's gonna then that limits where I can shoot. Now I got to go find some like shade for them, or it usually has to be constant shade, like something where the background's in shade, so you're not getting some crazy dappled light. But and I didn't like the way that felt going into a paid gig and really just kind of being limited a bit because I was too stubborn to learn, just sit down and learn this off-camera flash. Um, but that's how it started. I mean, again, not to rehash what we talked about last week. But that's how I kind of reached out to you because I was just on YouTube researching the shit out of how to do off-camera flash.
Because sometimes it's that's something scary to a lot of people because they don't know what it's going to look like when you're using lighting that like I'm using in here. You can lighting, but when you start throwing off-camera lighting, you go, I have no idea what the hell this is going to look like. In the days of film, that could be used as an excuse, but now that we digital, it's like, well, you don't look like. Take one photo, and you're going to see exactly what it looks like. Oh, well, the flash is too bright. Well, lower the flash. Oh, well, it's too little flash. Well, give it more. You know what I'm saying? Like it's when you bring it down to a very simplistic level, it becomes a lot easier. So with our team, for example, the way take your exposure of what you want the scene to look like. Once you have what you want the scene to look like and make it dark, then it's a little bit of flash. That's it. I mean, there's a couple of other rules, but that's when you break it down to the general, what's a basic form. That's all we're doing. It's nothing,
Yeah, and I think too many people are scared. God, I'm bringing up a lot of shit from last week, like free work, like something I would do. Like if I was wanting to try out Flash, like I would reach out to couples on Instagram, like, yo, can we go do a shoot in the city? Whatever photos I get, I'm gonna give to you, but I'm gonna be trying out some stuff.
exactly, because it's low.
Yeah, low pressure. They didn't pay. They know you're experimenting and trying stuff out up front. The pressure's off you. And yeah, or like if you don't even want to do that, like grab your dog or your kids or your neighbor and just try something out.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, if this doesn't apply to us because we don't have any friends, but if you have friends, grab them and take them outside. Because when I started, it was I would say, "Hey, Dominic, go stand over," and I would set up a light stand, or I would have somebody hold it. This was before I even had any light. Hold the flash, and then just shoot. So, like for example, the photo of Oscar, the one that I showed you earlier this week, the first off-camera light shot where I felt like it was successful. That was literally my friend just holding the flash on the side. He was there with his hands in his pocket. I think he had his hands in his pockets, and it clicked. And I went, okay, I wanted to pose for the background, and then added some that was kind of next to him that my friend was holding. And it's just using that as your baseline, and then just using those ingredients. It's make it a little bit darker. That's what you want for the background, and then add some flash. Immediately, is going to change the way that you shoot. And like you were saying, now you're not at the mercy of the sun, because truth be told, if we're shooting a session in the middle of the day, which is what I was discussing with this couple, most of the time I'm going to try to keep you in the shade. If I can avoid putting you in the sun, I'll avoid it. But if I have to, I know how to mitigate that in order to not blow out if that's not what I want.
Yeah, yeah. Middle of the day sucks, man. Because then, like even then, like flash is hard to rescue you when the sun is straight above. That's a bitch. So I would utilize a shade as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you were saying that like now people don't even have an excuse to not be getting into off-camera flash because you were talking to me about how it was when you started, and you were talking about pocket wizards. Tell us a little bit about that because I
So
got into it when we had nice triggers and things were set up.
for the young kids or people who came in a little bit later, back in the day, we used to use pocket wizards, which were just transmitters. Literally, just you put one on top of your camera, you attach the other one with a wire, which there's another thing that can go wrong. So you would attach the other one with a wire to your flash, and then that would just trigger it. All it would do is flash. You wouldn't be able to control the flash power. You wouldn't be able to change anything. Literally just to trigger. And if it's humid out, those wires are going to act up because they used to act up all the time. So it's like you'd hit it. And I was assisting. I remember it's not going off, Chris. Well, pull the wire. Play around with it. Try to get it to work. And it's like each pocket wizard, if I remember correctly, was $150. So we're talking about 150 here, 150 flash. Ready, you're at 300, and all it's doing is just to fire the flash. Then you got to buy a flash unit. Back in the day, Young Nuvo, Godox, old newer, all these companies didn't exist. So you would either get a used like Nikon flash from the 80s or 90s off of eBay for about $120, $130 that literally did nothing but turn on, and then you would change the power manually. So right there, we're at what? Let's say we'll call it 100 just to make it even. We're at $400 just to do a basically a small flash as your off-camera flash. Magma didn't exist. Uh, that still wasn't in existence. A softbox, for example, one that I have here and similar to the one that I use for photography, you can get them on Amazon now for like 30, $40. Back in the day, the cheapest one I remember was this Westcott one, and it was the umbrella style one, and it was $130 for a little softbox. But those were your options. You know what I mean? So like that's why I tell people now, I'm like, you get an 8200 and a remote, and you're pretty much good to go. It's
Yeah.
like to not get into the flash photography game is silly. It's just adding something extra to your arsenal that will change the way that you shoot and give you more options. It's really what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. To not get into it now is just it's just lazy. It's just lazy as shit. Or like they'll and they make excuse. Well, it's not my style. Yeah. Well, you can still, dude. flash photography can be amazing in anybody's style. It's just bullshit.
And
But
that's it.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, because we have different people on the team that have different creative styles than I do. And what I tell them is, what I want to do is teach you what we do, and then if you can implement this into your own style, amazing. If not, at least you have this in your tool belt when you're out shooting. You go, you know what we can do here? There's an extra tool that you have that people that have your style don't have. And that's what I don't want to kill people's different creative styles. I still want you to have your own way of shooting, but I want something extra on top of that, so you have more options.
Yeah. Now, so learning and adding off-camera flash just changed the game for me. It made me more confident rolling into a wedding venue,
Mm.
not caring if it's dark, not worried about, what the lighting is, not worried about if it's sunny, and it just changed again. Like your confidence goes up when you know what to do in any situation. But before that, when I was only natural light, I would roll into places scared as shit. And it really just came down to being so easy. Like people make it so much more complicated than it has to be. Look in the camera, expose for the ambient light how you want the background to look, turn flash on. Like you said, do a test shot with
And
with
and fuck up a lot. Fuck up. That's part of learning. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are afraid to try it. Well, I'm not going to get it right. Of course you're not going to get it right. We don't get it right sometimes off the first shot that we're testing. That's how it starts, and then you build your confidence, and you get it better the more that you do it.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's good advice. I mean, that's good life advice. You're gonna fuck up a lot of things, but don't be scared to at least try. Like, get out there and fuck it up, mix it up. That's the
Yeah,
only way you're gonna learn.
exactly, dude. Like, that's what I remember when I was shooting for a studio in New York. They asked me, as a second shooter, because it was like my first or second shooter job. They said, what would you say your job is? And I said, well, if the lead photographer already has the safe shots and they already got the basic stuff, then my job is to be creative. And by being creative, my job is also to fuck up a lot, because I'm going to try things that may not work. But the thing is, if I'm going to be confident enough to know that my lead photographer who I'm working with, they have the basic stuff. So they're not relying on me for that. For me, it's to be creative and throw shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
Sometimes, get the stuff that we need, but then start being creative. And that's what I look for when we hire someone as well. Is I want you to be creative. I want you to try something new. These are the basic shots that we have, but then what else can you bring to the table that maybe we end up adding your shot? There's a certain shot that we do with a groom that I call the montaña shot, which is one of our photographers as his last name. That's what we call it now, because he's the one that started doing that shot. And now we go, if you guys have time, try the montaña shot, and everybody they know which one that is.
That's the hero shot, huh?
No, that's the one, the montaña shot, and it could also be Karsten, because he also did this around the same time. If they're getting ready in the hotel and they're doing like their collar or something like that, you see how there's this little window right here between that massive bicep right there.
Yo,
No, but you see how there's that little window right here.
I can't stop looking at it.
All right, don't get distracted. Come back
Okay,
to it.
okay, I'm back. I'm back.
Shot is shooting through this little window right here into the mirror and not getting yourself in the shot. So if they're adjusting the collar, that's the shot. Shooting through this, using this as a frame, and getting the groom in the reflection. It's a really cool shot, and they use off-camera lighting sometimes. So I put that in the second shooter guideline. If you have time, try this shot out.
Could you show me how they adjust the collar again?
Hold on.
Oh, daddy. Slow down.
I didn't get to work out today. Goddamn. Hold on. This thing got. There we go. We're coming back.
We lost him, and now he's back. Settle down. That was all the ladies logging in, looking at that bicep there. Your bicep almost brought down the podcast, Daddy.
I'm sorry. Never again.
No, but I think the thing that I've learned the most just talking right now is like, don't be scared to fuck shit up. Don't be scared to try. Go do it. You're never going to do it sitting on your ass. So just go try it. Like, grab somebody, no pressure, go try it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you grind at it, and there's just so many resources on YouTube that you can help, especially in the MagMod community. Although I would say it's a little Magma community might not be the best place to start because Cats is out there doing wild shit. Maybe just
Advanced. It is advanced. A lot of the stuff that they show, and if you're going into it, um, like thinking, okay, I'm going to go and do this, and you're just starting out with Flash, to go with your point, it's going to get overwhelming. You kind of have to stay in your lane in the beginning and make sure that you learn the basics first before you start going crazy with colors and all this other stuff.
yeah. I would say I think start with one flash. Don't
Yes.
you'll be scared if you go look at the Magma community, but there is some good stuff to learn out there. But start with one flash and don't move on to another until you're comfortable with one.
And sometimes you don't need to add more. There's times where we do a session and I only take one flash because I go, we're not going to need backflash for this. Because sometimes you don't want to over flash a situation either. Because, for example, when we shoot in a location that's a lot of nature, we don't do a ton of flash photos because it doesn't. I feel like to me, flash is more architecture. I mean, you can use it with nature, but generally, you're not going to be flash heavy on a nature kind of shoot. Available light is going to be great because you're probably going to be in the shade for a lot of it.
It's something I had to learn. Like once I started getting creative with off camera flash, I'd find myself early like trying to force it. Like
Yes, great point. Go on, continue.
I would show up to venue and I'm like, man, I gotta make this look like something spectacular or something. I've screenshotted so many different things on the MagMod page. I was like, I'm gonna recreate this, and I have all this shit in my head. And meanwhile, it's overcast outside. There's tons of beautiful safe shots to have, and I think somebody coming up in the game that wants to get an off-camera flash and they're looking at all these photographers' pages and they have all this amazing beautiful flash work all over the place. You think that that's all they do. On a wedding day, you
Yes.
might use the flash creatively 2% of the day.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, because we're using like perception, but like for those creative shots, it's not gonna be a ton. Like there was a wedding over the weekend where I only used an off-camera flash, like for creative shots, maybe 10 different frames, like 10 different shots that we did use with flash.
yeah.
We time for it because it didn't call for it because the environment didn't call for it. So I go exactly what you're saying. Why force it? There were 2 or 3 situations where I saw, okay, the sunset looks ridiculous. We have to do a shot. So we did one with flash then, one at the church because like a creative wide with a flash. Then at the church, a flash, a normal one, but it's like just a few throughout the day, just sprinkling them to give them the flavor that they've seen from us. But again, not trying to make it fit if it doesn't fit, if you don't need it.
Yeah. Yes. I don't, man. There were so many situations where I was sitting there trying to force shit,
Yeah,
and it's just like you don't have to take on the wedding day is stressful enough. Take the easy shots when you have them, especially like getting ready. If there's great light because there's windows all around the bride's getting ready room, and you turn the lights out, and you can get some nice soft lit
yep,
portraits and things like that. Take that. Don't get wild. You don't have to like be Indiana Jones and setting up 4 lights outside to do like. It's stressful enough. Just keep shit moving. Save that for the bangers during bride and groom, and like just don't force it. Like that was something I had
yeah.
to learn.
Now here's the tip: if you do have a lot of time, because sometimes you do get there. Not, it doesn't happen that much for us anymore because we kind of help them with the timeline a little bit more than we used to in the beginning. If you do have time though, getting ready, and you want to try out something creative, a tip would be announce it to the makeup artist, announce it to the hairstylist, hey, and to the bride, we're going to be using flash. Let us know if it bothers you. Let us know if it's too bright, and we'll work around it. Because there was one time I remember Andrew, used pretty high flash because he was shooting outside, and I could see that the makeup artist got a little annoyed. So ever since then, every time we see something, I always like approach the team the following like Monday, and I go, "Hey guys, these are notes from this weekend. Moving forward, if you're going to use a flash, make sure you let them know, hey, we're going to be using a flash. Let us know if it bothers you. If it does, let us know. We'll work with you. Because you don't want to be that dickhead, photographer who's just it's about them.
No. Fuck everything you just said. I do want to be that dickhead. I would tell the makeup lady if she looked irritated to eat ass and be quiet. No, shout out to all my makeup artists that I've worked with before. I know y'all wouldn't pull some bullshit like that. But
So we have this here.
if you did do that,
Mhm.
makeup artists out there, you can eat a fat one. Yeah, you're very diplomatic, very professional. No, there's no way I could have that. See, you guys, this is difference in two styles. You're very professional. I'd be like, you shitting me? Fuck this lady. We're gonna.
Well,
I would tell my guy, you know what? Turn the power up, double it. Blast her out of this room. Fuck her.
dude, you know what it is, man? Like, I just want peace in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if adjusting the flash power, changing the angle a little bit, like it's not going to kill the shot. The thing is, like, and I'm not saying that you're not, but I feel confident enough that we can do whatever the fuck we need without having to be a dick about it. You know, doing that. Like, I'm not married to any shot. Like, if that shot with that much power has to work from that angle, and I see it's too much and it's bothering people, I go, oh, fuck it, switch it from the other side, lower the flash, shoot into a darker background. I'm sure you'll get the same thing or something similar.
Yeah, but because I have high petty levels, if I ever saw the look on a makeup artist's face that some flash I just did bothered her, the next shot I take, I'm taking her vision with me.
Yeah, I think we're gonna disagree on that one because
We'll
yeah,
disagree. Yeah,
yeah.
no, no. Shorty's gonna get her eyes dilated with the next shot.
She's gonna walk out of there like Cartman.
She ain't gonna be able to drive home with that next shot, boy. I'm gonna get four flashes out.
Blocked.
She gonna think Jesus is coming back with all that light.
Yeah, different approach. Very different approach.
Yeah. Well, listen. To wrap up just that topic, because I know we got one more. My words to cats out there: start with one flash. Don't force it. Go test it out on somebody you know. What's
Uh-huh.
that?
Blind motherfuckers.
Blind, very important. Blind.
Before you wrap that up, I do always mention that also to the bride, like, or and the groom also. Like, hey, when we point them towards like the direction of the flash, I always tell them don't look at the flash. So let's say the flash is directly like right over here. I'll tell them to look here, or I'll tell them to look
Yeah.
here. I tell them don't look at the flash because you will, it is a lot of power sometimes that we're blasting at them. So I just last serious note, I wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I would do the same with my brides. The rest of the vendors can eat one.
Okay. Check.
Yeah, but to some, practice on friends. Start
Hmm.
out with just one flash. Don't force it. And the key: set your ambient and camera for me first. If you
Hmm.
like the way the scene, then turn the flash on. Start at the lowest power if you want, and just go in increments, fucking up until you get the right shot, and you're good.
Yeah. Simple enough. And if anybody has any questions, hit us up. Dude, just like we became friends, you know what I mean? Like anybody has questions, we're always happy to answer.
Heck yeah. And, similar to what you just said a second ago about talking, like going to tell the bride what's up. I'd love to go into a wedding and then talk to the bride and groom up front and be like, listen, your boy like to move around during the ceremony. Like sometimes I can get close, maybe for some creative shots or whatever. I like to get their buy-in immediately, and they'll be like, yeah, full send, do whatever you want. And then I go wild. I go wild, Daddy. Once I get that blessing,
I was gonna say you don't really shoot too many Catholic weddings, then do you? Or do you?
I've had a few, and they suck in a sense that the church lady always got the worst rules. Like
Yep.
she basically got you shooting outside the building.
But there's a reason for that. Like I never blame them because I always think there was one dickhead out there who jumped up on the altar in the middle of the while they're exchanging rings, and that's why they made this rule. There, and I'm looking at you.
Army crawling.
Listen, you have social intelligence, Scott. All jokes aside, there are people who are just a screw is loose is missing, and they'll cut in front of the mom and dad while like things are happening, and it's like when a little 95-year-old church lady tells me don't cut in the front, I go, well, yeah, of course, that makes sense. She has to tell you that because some dummy out there did it. You know what I mean? Or don't go up on the altar. It's like, well, yeah. Like to me, it's like, duh, it's obvious. Um,
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I want to mention for those out there who shoot with like multiple
Wait,
photographers.
can I stop you real quick
Yeah,
before you go on? Just to wrap up the Catholic wedding,
yeah,
I have a different approach. What I'll do, and it ends up working out, and the photos look great, and I can get some interesting shots. Is I'll tell my second shooter, listen, go bother the church lady for a good 20 minutes, and I have them keep the church lady busy, and then I get to go all over the place.
that's one approach. Can I give you the other one?
Okay.
All right, so that's the Scott Stockton way. The T&K way is a little different. Since we have, and I hate that I'm always the serious one, you motherfucker. You always have fun, and I'm gotta be like dad. But this is how we do it, right? So if we're shooting the ceremony, and it's three of us, because it's always a second shooter, or generally speaking, a second shooter, an assistant, and myself. The assistant always brings their camera. I always tell them with a 70-200 or 85, whichever the longest lens that you have. If I'm standing in the middle, because as a lead, I would be standing in the middle, our second photographer is on one side shooting towards the bride, so wherever she's facing, whichever side. And then the third, the assistant, is shooting from the other side, so that way they're crossing. Therefore, we never have to move. So I stay in the middle, this one stays on this side, this one stays on this side. They cover what's going on in the front, and then I tell them the 2 or 3 pews in the front. If there's older relatives, focus on them. We can never get enough photos of older relatives, like grandparents and stuff like that. So just shoot like hell, on those relatives. Shoot parents, and then just stay there. And that way we don't have to move the entire time.
Yeah. I like that.
Easier approach. We've been doing it for the last like 3 years, and dude, it's so much like less stress.
So before I cut you off, you were about to say one more thing though about something else. Damn, I might have fucked it up. Damn,
No,
I.
I think it was just a flash, like tell them not to look at directly into it, because that's one thing that we do all the time.
Now we also wanted to talk about stupid photography trends.
Yeah, which ones were we talking about? Because I posted a video about presets, and that can fall into that, because if you get a very like stylistic preset, and I'm not knocking it, dude. Whatever works for you, there's a market for everything. So if you like, where everything is just one tone and it's blown out, and listen, people like that. So God bless, go collect bags doing that. But for me, I've always said in the video, I said stay true to yourself. So it's like if you're using presets, usually it's just one that we use. We don't really go too crazy. But try not to fall into trends of, these 6 months I'm using this preset. The next 6 months I'm going to use a different preset. The next 6 months I'm going to use a different preset. Because then your clients are going to look at that and go, well, what's his style, or what's her style?
Yeah, got multiple personality editing style right there.
Right. And then you never know what you're going to get, like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, what a trend going around that I can't stand is this fucking forced blurry shot. I can't stand it. I can't fucking stand. Like somebody asked me the other day, "Hey, can we get a blurry shot?" And I'm like, I usually try so hard to never get a blurry shot. Like it was like I had to like re-educate myself talking with you just how to do it.
You called me in between locations.
Mm-hmm.
Pissed.
How the fuck? How do I do this?
Well,
How do I?
remember, what I told you is very similar to the photo that we discussed last week, the first paid gig that I did, which was more panning. So just because they're asking for a blurry photo, you don't have to fall into the stereotypical just blur. You can do it where you're creating motion. And
Yeah.
I've done it before where they're like running and you do that. Or there was a really cool shot, and I'll send it to you so you can, so we can post it on here. Is Isaac did a photo of a little flower girl, and she had like a dress, a flowy dress. So he told her to spin, and he spun the camera with her. And dude, that thing, or either he spun the camera with her or he held it still. No, it would have to be that he held it still. She spun, and the dress looks like it's twirling because of the motion. So
Yeah.
there's creative ways of doing it, and that's how I talked you off the ledge, because you were about to kill someone.
Yeah, I don't like that one. Another one I don't like is to make everything orange.
I'm gonna agree with you on that.
Like, and there's going to be people that, well, the 35, 34 people that watched the last one. If one of you cats makes everything orange, I might lose some followers here.
Well, I don't mean to be a dick by saying this. Sometimes I'll look at something and it looks so freaking orange that I genuinely think, are they colorblind? And I'm not trying to be a jerk. Like I'm genuinely not. Like they may not see the full spectrum of of what they're doing. It's very monotone and very orange. One of our photographers is colorblind, so sometimes like he'll shoot something and then like it's funny because we'll be discussing it and I'm like, you don't see the two colors there, and he goes, those are the same two colors, and I go, holy crap! Like he doesn't see, you know what I mean? Like that something. So I am curious when they're editing if they're seeing something different than what we're seeing. And most people are going to be nice unless you ask for critique. No one's going to say something to you unless they're a dickhead. And I mean, but then at that point they're kind of helping you, right? So I guess it's not that bad. Which I have something that I can go on a tangent with that. But go ahead. You were going to say
I was going to say shout out to colorblind cats.
something. Still doing it.
Still doing the damn thing. Got to shout that out.
Shout out to Adam because he's the colorblind photographer we have, but he's still kicking ass. So you know what I mean. It doesn't affect him in any way.
Word
Um,
to Word to Adam. Oh, sorry, I keep cutting you out.
no, all good. What I was gonna say is going back to what I said about critique, right? So when I started photography in 2006, there was no Instagram. I think Facebook was just getting started, right? And there were a few photography forums that I would post in. The reason that I would post in them is because they didn't go and look at my photos and go, my God, clap it up. They would go, hey, dickhead, over here, you could have done this better. That doesn't look that good. Why is that in the background? This looks over processed. Boom, boom, boom. And that's how I learned. It wasn't by praise. It was by people who were better than the level that I was at, telling me, this is where you can do that better. This is, this looks too processed. The colors look weird here. If you crop this over here, it'll look better. And that's how I learned. You know what I mean? Is people being brutally honest with you.
Yeah. Do you see the name that I put down for me?
Ball so hard.
Ball so hard, Daddy. I like the way you read that. Not that my balls are so hard, but I ball so hard.
No, you got to make sure people get it right.
That's right. Now so we're heading to Vegas. I'm gonna vlog it just in case we get into some shenanigans. It could be fun. But we are gonna try to do a podcast out there.
You know what? I'm gonna throw this out there. Leave a comment and let us know any technique or anything like that you want to see us try, because we can film some behind the scenes, kind of talking about it. You know what I mean? I'll probably bring like one flash. You know what I mean? Just to play around with. Because my idea was just doing street photography, but if anybody wants to see anything, let us know. I mean, we'll have some of our gear with us anyway.
Heck yeah! No, that'll be fun.
Well, you're packing a full duffel bag of equipment, you said.
Yeah, I'm not bringing any off-camera flash, but I will bring one camera and probably all the lenses.
And I'll probably just bring one lens, one camera, and one flash. Like that's plenty. Now, are there any? But going back to the topic that we were talking, what other trends? Because you seem to have a little bit more like your ear to the ground as to what's going on.
I mean, outside of the blurry and the orange stuff, which I don't care so much about. I mean, what you talked about makes a lot of sense because, I mean, I used to get caught up early when I first got in spending shitloads of money on presets.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, they'll show you, like, the before and after, and you just go, oh, just one click, and I'm Gucci. But
We've all been.
yeah, their raw file is going to be very different than your raw file, so it's never going to be a like for like before and after.
Yeah.
God, what other trends are winding me up?
I guess you know what the thing with me is they don't really wind me up too much because I go, well, if I don't want to do them, I just won't do them. But for example, with the blurry that you were talking about, I always try to think of how we can do something creative with that. Like I'm open to it. You know what I'm saying? It's just that it has to be true to something that I would do or something that we would do. But at the same time, sometimes it really comes down to customer service appeasing your client. You want a blurry photo? I mean, that's completely the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing, but okay, you know what I mean? And the thing with that is like, you don't have to post it on your social media or on your website or on your, any of that. So you can shoot it. Now your couple's happy. You're happy because you completed your job and everything's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes 30 seconds to appease someone and then keep it moving.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Did you?
Hmm?
No,
Go
you
ahead.
got.
Okay, so I was going to say another thing that you mentioned earlier is when you would take photos from like the Magmod community or something like that that you wanted to try out. That's one thing that I always tell people when they're starting out is don't think that you carrying a photo of, hey guys, I want to try this out, is going to make your couple look at you and go, well, I guess he doesn't have any idea. No, they're going to be like, oh, cool. And they're going to want to feel like they want to be part of this, of helping you get the shot that you want. You know what I mean? So it's like, take the ego out of it and just take some ideas that you want to do. Now, here's a little side tip with that is don't show them something that's 30 levels ahead of you, because now their expectations of what you're going to do is going to be up here and you go, shit, I'm still learning. So curtail expectations also goes along with that.
Yeah, no, that's funny. We need to, yeah. So people, we need y'all to leave some names for us because we're struggling.
Oh, for the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, because like if we're gonna film one in person in Vegas, so that'll be the third. Like we can't get a podcast on Spotify or iTunes until we get a name locked down. So if y'all think of anything, hit us with it.
Yeah. And we'll put it on a piece of paper and put it in the background in Vegas.
Here we go. Do you have anything else for the people, Daddy?
I think that's it for today. Just like I always say, we don't want to, keep going until people want us to shut up. I'd rather just want people to want us to post more of these. So I think for now, this is good. We have some topics that we've been writing down. So probably in a couple of days, we'll record another one, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Gotta get that name. We gotta get that name, people. Help us out.
I'm going to let you do the outro. Go on, clear that throat.
Okay, that was another beautiful, masterfully made podcast by the two of us. So remember, leave the comments, and we'll be in Vegas. We'll do something for y'all there. We'll see you soon, and we love you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'll send this to the studio.